everybody, welcome back to the Cat Talk podcast. Today we're talking about my thoughts on the film community. Honestly, I'm very new to the film community. I mentioned this last episode, but I just started really truly watching movies. I made a resolution last year to watch at least 52 movies by the end of the year. I know you see a lot of posters there, but do not get fooled. Do not get fooled. I'm very new, you know? So what I mean by the film community is people online, you know, Letterboxd users, like people in person that I've met a lot through like film conventions and festivals and things like that. Everyone's very different. But what I have found from the general scope of things is that if you don't know, like, the core, like, if you don't know, like, the core movies, or if you don't know every director's name, or if you don't know actors' names, you're not as involved as people think you are. However you may present yourself, you could be like, yeah, I've been watching movies forever, so then they'll be like, who directed this movie? And you're like, and if you don't get it, then you're not, you know? I mean, at least that's been my experience, where I will be part of a conversation of other filmmakers, and they'll start talking about directors' names and their favorite actors or actresses, and I don't know names. Personally, I'm just like, I'm good with names with my friends, you know, like I know my friends' names, but unfortunately I don't know who directed insert movie name, I don't know. So that's something that I have found gets super difficult for me, especially when it comes to in-person conversations, because even my best friends, like, they'll be talking about like a movie, or they'll be talking about like the lore of a movie, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, oh, okay, like just not understand. And I don't remember the last time that I was like fully into a conversation about film, when I feel like film isn't all about movies that are already made, you know? Like, it could be movies about, we could have conversations about how we story tell, or like film productions we've been part of, you know? Which obviously that goes into more of like the filmmaker community. But I feel like even if you love movies, you could totally talk about like storytelling, you know? Like your favorite type of storytelling, your favorite little quirks that some of your directors or writers do that you found super cool. Like, obviously, I don't want to not hear about movies that I've never heard of. I love hearing movies I never heard of, because then I'm like, wait, that sounds so interesting. I will totally watch that, and I'll add it to my never-ending watch list. But the problem is that, like, I think a lot of the film community is very uptight, which I was talking about this with a friend, about how Letterboxd has changed. And I'm very new to Letterboxd, so I'm not the best to talk about this conversation, but they were telling me about how Letterboxd used to be, you just write your thoughts, you write your reviews, and we move on, and now it's become more of like the joke, which I think it's fun. Like, I think I like seeing like joke reviews on Letterboxd. It's kind of funny. Like, I don't know, like in Wonka they were calling Timothée Chalamet like Willy Twinka, something like that. It was something to do with like being a twink. I don't know. It's just like so specific. But they were just telling me about how it's changed in that sense, and how it's gotten a lot more pretentious, because the film community now is just very pretentious, and that's just how I feel as well. And I think I feel more about the lack of knowledge that I have versus the abundance of knowledge that other people have. I kind of beat myself about it a little bit, because I watched around 60 movies last year, which maybe that's a lot to you, maybe it's not, I have no idea. But to me, that's a lot. It's a lot of movies, especially when I went from like never watching movies to only watching movies. And just realizing, you know, the switch in my own mentality, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I feel so good about myself. I feel like I can actually be part of conversations now. Like, whenever I watched a movie that was like a classic, like I literally watched Interstellar for the first time last year, and I was like, wow, like this is why people rave so much about this movie. I get it. I hear y'all. So I could finally have those conversations with people. I was like, finally, like, I watched a movie that everyone has watched, and I can be part of conversations. But I feel like that shouldn't be the norm, you know? And it's a bit of a double-edged sword because, you know, obviously, if there's a movie that is very popular, then, like, that's what people are going to rave to talk about. But I think that, like, one thing that, when it comes to the film community, I just wish people were more open about having other conversations rather than, like, The Godfather. I have not watched The Godfather. I don't think I'm going to. It's not a movie I think I would enjoy. But if I were to say that, I feel like I would get berated, which has happened before. They're like, what are you talking about? The Godfather is one of the greatest movies. And I'm like, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. And then I tell them my lore. I'm like, I just got into movies. Like, I love making them. I love storytelling. But in terms of watching movies, 2024 was my birth year of watching movies. But before that, I was just watching, like, shows I saw on Netflix or, like, TV. I was a big TV gal growing up, so I've watched a ton of, like, Nickelodeon, like, things like that. I could talk about that for hours. But, like, I've not watched Pulp Fiction. I hate to break it to you. But at the same time, it's like, when you haven't watched a movie like that, people just get upset. And I'm like, hold on. Because then I wonder, like, oh, am I the problem? Like, am I at fault for not watching one of the greatest movies of our generation? I don't know. I have no idea. So, recently, I've just been considering myself, like, not a real film kid. I'm like, wait, maybe I'm not, like, the film kid that I claim and shout so proudly to be. Because I haven't watched a ton of classic movies. You know? And I'm taking a horror class right now. And, like, all the time my professor will say, have you guys watched this movie? And the majority of the class is like, yes, I love that movie. Yes, I've watched it. Like, everyone's watched that movie. And then me and, like, 2 other people are in the class like, that's really good. So, again, this is all just my thoughts on the film community. Because I'm new to it, and I feel like it's a very prevalent thing in my career path, in my life, in my social life, everything. And a lot of the media that I consume online is about films. Like, it's just people being like, did you know that this movie was actually the whatever? Or it'll be, like, behind the scenes of people, or it'll be people giving advice. Like, that's a lot of what I consume, just scrolling with my fingers online. But again, like, I just feel, like, sometimes I feel really out of place. I'm like, wait, like, I don't feel as involved as I did when, like, January 1st of 2025 struck, and I was like, bam, I've watched 60 movies, I feel awesome. I just don't feel as involved as I thought that I would. And that feeling really sucks when you're like, you feel so ready for something, and then you go into it, and you're like, oh, hold on, maybe I'm not. So, I will admit, though, like, I know this has been a bit of a Debbie Downer episode so far. On a brighter side, a lot of people that I've met through the film community are so nice. They're so sweet. And I can't do anything but applaud them for being so patient with me, for not knowing literally anything, and for them being like, so you haven't watched Bones and All? And I'm like, no. Like, no, I've not. For a bit of a sidebar, a little pin, I've not watched any Tarantino movies. I don't think I will ever watch any Tarantino movies. They don't look like something I'd enjoy. And I'm really scared of blood, so I guess that's also just not a great trait to have when it comes to, like, movies. But what can you do? Unpin. So, I'm very appreciative of people that have been really nice and that don't automatically think I am invalid for wanting to be part of the film community when I haven't watched the movies, you know, like the greatest movie, the GOAT movies, if you will, the greatest movies of all time. So that there is a good part. Obviously, there is a great part to the film community, and especially film community that wants to be part of the filmmaker community. I for me, they, like, merge together, but I need to remember that they're pretty separate. I love talking about filmmaking to those that aren't involved yet. I think it's such a great way to express yourself, and I learn a lot from people that have watched a lot of movies. You know, I even learn a lot about like film and storytelling from people that have solely watched movies, because they've grasped more than me when it comes to like the industry stuff. Because I find myself to be very indie, like very indie, like very indie. Like I really haven't, done anything crazy. I've done one commercial production, I guess, but I was a PA, so it wasn't even like I was crazy involved. So I'm very grateful for everything I've learned through other people, through the community I've joined. But I will say that the downsides of it definitely affect me a lot harder than they should. And I think that's something that should get fixed. I think that the film community should just like appreciate, others in their journey to becoming, a little more involved. Or if they don't, even if people just want to watch like one movie a year but want to be part of the community, want to talk about it, then sure. Like I think everyone's a bit too judgmental, but that might be a societal problem, not so much a film community problem. But to touch on another opinion I have about the film community. Opinions. Oh, I know. And I know that's a bit of a shaky bridge we're entering. Like I said earlier, I consume a lot of media about movies and things like that, which also includes people's opinions on movies. Right? So Letterboxd, which if you are interested in my Letterboxd, there is a link down below in my link tree. You can find my Letterboxd there. In my Letterboxd, my top 4 are very interesting. You can go see for yourself. My top 4 are very interesting. They're very controversial. And whenever I talk about my top 4, people are like, really? Yes. Well, yes. I am not lying on my Letterboxd. Fun fact. But I've seen people posting, and there's like this trend right now where you post what each star means to you. You know how Letterboxd is rated on like a 5-star thing? So they'll put 3 movies that they have put in the half star, 3 in the star category, 3 in the 2-star, 3 in the 2.5 star, whatever. And some of the movies are some of the classics on some of those like lower star ratings. And the comments will just berate this person. They are so much stronger than me for posting that, because if people heard that I didn't like Call Me By Your Name, but I love Timothée Chalamet, I would get ripped apart to shreds. I would probably lose a lot of respect. Like it's a very harsh reality. And so that's just been a trend that's going on right now, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, like I'll see that they put a movie that I love in their 1-star category, and I'm like, oh, I wonder why, it's more of like a curiosity thing rather than like a, you're wrong, you know nothing. And I feel like that's just a harsh, cookie to bite, where it's like, oh, people have a different opinion? No, that's not okay. When you're like, okay, wait, because imagine all the movies that they like that have also just a big audience, or that one person in the entire world could love a movie. So then the rest of the world would just punch them in the face because they're like, oh, I hate this movie though. It's a really unhealthy relationship that I think all of us have in the film community, because it's like, and it's almost like you have to defend yourself for liking something. But it shouldn't be that way. Like, you should just be able to like what you like and just tell other people that you did and tell them why you did or why you didn't. And then that could just be a conversation. It doesn't have to be this big debate, or it doesn't have to be like you defending yourself with like swords and knives in hand because someone else loves the movie that you didn't like. I think that's a very prevalent issue going on, and that's probably been going on for a while. I think that's also part of the Letterboxd, like, little glow up or glow down, whatever you want to call it, that it had, where people are just very entitled to their own opinion, which you should be, but you gotta respect other people's. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have, like, oh, I love my opinion and I'm never wrong, but then, like, punch someone in the face for thinking that their opinion is wrong, So, that's just my thoughts on the film community as a whole. To kind of wrap this up, some advice that I would give is, if you like a movie, you can like the movie. Don't let someone, gaslight you or whatever word you want to insert there. Don't let someone do something to you to where you are like, oh, maybe I don't like this movie, or maybe I shouldn't like this movie. No! Like whatever you want. Wonka is in my Letterboxd top 4, and I am proud. I am a proud Wonka lover. Is it because of Timothée Chalamet? Who knows? But if I love that movie, who cares? Who cares? It's just, you need to learn to enjoy your own stuff and to respect other people's stuff. I didn't like Call Me By Your Name, but if it's in someone's Letterboxd top 4, I want to know why. I want to learn why. Tell me what you loved about that movie. Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me what you're iffy about. And I'll give you the same. Conversations like that are my favorite. And I'm so sad that they're getting lost. And if you are having that same problem where you're like, like 27 people commented on my post saying that I was wrong for hating Interstellar. You're not wrong. How can you be wrong about something that you dislike? You know? I feel like you're more prone to being sure of what you dislike than what you like. And if you dislike, I don't know, Dune. If you dislike Dune, you dislike Dune. I love it, but tell me why you hate it. So just be secure in your opinion. Don't let other people try to talk you out of it or whatever. Just stand strong and have a great rest of your day, evening, night, 3 a.m. Who knows? Whenever you're watching this. But all my links are down below. If you do want to see my Letterboxd, I know I only told you one of my top 4. If you want to see the rest of my top picks or what I disliked, click that link tree below. Comment what you dislike or like about the film community. Comment your favorite movie. Whatever you want to comment, by all means. And this has been Cat Talk. Goodbye.